The hotel room was too quiet for a place that charged by the night. Not silent, never silent, but that padded, filtered quiet that expensive hotels perfected. Thick carpet swallowing footsteps, curtains heavy enough to block out the city and, if you let them, your sense of time. Andre Lewis stood in the middle of room 1412 and knew immediately that something was wrong. His suitcase was still there, his jacket hung where he'd left it, his laptop sat untouched on the desk. But the bag was gone. Not the big one, the small one. The black leather carry bag he always kept close. The one with the short handles, soft sides, and a faint scratch near the zipper from an airport security tray years ago. The one that never left his sight unless he was sleeping or showering. Andre's chest tightened. Not panic yet, but alertness. He walked slowly toward the desk, scanning the room like it might explain itself if he looked hard enough. The bed had been made, fresh towels stacked neatly, trash emptied, a faint smell of cleaning solution hung in the air. Housekeeping had been here. Andre checked the clock on his phone. 11:42 a.m. He'd left the room at 9:15 to grab breakfast and take a work call in the lobby. He remembered glancing at the bag before he left, placed deliberately on the chair near the desk, not hidden, not out of the way. He always did that, a habit built from too many cities and too many misunderstandings. He moved faster now, opening drawers, checking behind the chair, even though he knew better. The bag wasn't misplaced, it was removed. Andre sat on the edge of the bed and let the reality settle. Inside that bag, his passport, his company badge, a flash drive with project files, his medication. Not replaceable in a single afternoon. He stood and picked up the room phone. "Front desk," a cheerful voice answered. "Yes," Andre said evenly. "This is Andre Lewis in 1412. I believe housekeeping removed a personal bag from my room." There was a pause. Keys clicked. "Housekeeping doesn't remove guest belongings," the voice replied automatically. Andre closed his eyes for half a second. "I understand that's the policy," he said, "but my bag is missing, and housekeeping was just here." Another pause, longer this time. "Are you sure it wasn't left in the hallway?" the clerk asked. Andre opened his eyes. "No," he said. "I'm sure." The clerk cleared her throat. "I can send someone up to check." "I'm already here," Andre replied. "There's nothing to check. I need someone who can access housekeeping logs." Silence. Then, "One moment, sir." The hold music started, soft piano, looping too quickly. Andre stared at the neatly made bed, the folded corners, the order that now felt invasive. He thought about how often people mistook neatness for harmlessness, how order could still erase things. The music stopped. "Sir," the clerk said, voice tighter now, "housekeeping reports nothing was taken." Andre laughed once, not loudly, not angrily, just enough to release pressure. "Then something impossible happened," he said, "because the bag was here when I left, and it isn't now." Another pause. "I can have security come speak with you," the clerk offered. "Yes," Andre said. "Please do." 10 minutes later, a knock came at the door. Andre opened it to find a white male security supervisor in his 40s, navy blazer, hotel logo stitched at the chest. His name tag read Mark. "Mr. Lewis?" Mark asked. "Yes." "I understand there's a concern about a missing item." Andre stepped aside to let him in. "A bag," he said. "Black leather, left in this room, gone after housekeeping." Mark scanned the room with practiced detachment. Housekeeping doesn't remove guest property unless it's trash or left behind after checkout. Andre met his eyes. "I didn't check out." Mark nodded slowly. "Of course." Andre noticed the word choice. "Of course. Not I believe you. Not we'll figure this out." Mark pulled out a small notebook. "When did you last see the bag?" 9:15 a.m., Andre replied. "I left the room. Housekeeping must have come in after." "And you're certain it was here?" "Yes." Mark wrote something down. "Any chance someone else had access to the room?" Andre stared at him. "No." Mark glanced at the door. Door logs show it was opened by housekeeping at 10:03. Andre nodded. That fits? Mark hesitated. I'll check with the team. Andre crossed his arms. Please do. Mark stepped into the hallway, speaking quietly into his radio. Andre could hear fragments. Room 1412. Guest claims. Housekeeping cart. When Mark returned, his expression was careful. Housekeeping says they didn't see a bag, he said. They cleaned and moved on. Andre felt the familiar shift, the moment where truth was being reframed as insistence. Then let's check the cameras, Andre said. Mark blinked. Cameras? The hallway, Andre clarified. Your carts go up and down. If a bag left my room, it left with someone. Mark's jaw tightened. That's not usually necessary. Andre's voice stayed calm. It is when something disappears. Mark studied him for a moment, then nodded. I'll see what I can do. It took another 20 minutes. Andre waited, standing now, arms folded, eyes on the door like it might open on its own and hand his life back. Finally, Mark returned, this time with a different posture, less certainty, more caution. We reviewed the hallway footage, Mark said. Andre didn't speak. At 10:07, Mark continued, a housekeeping cart stops outside your room. Andre nodded. Yes, Mark swallowed. A bag matching your description is placed on the cart. The room felt suddenly very still. Andre held Mark's gaze. Placed by whom? Mark hesitated. The attendant servicing your floor. So housekeeping did take it, Andre said quietly. Mark raised a hand. Possibly by mistake. Andre almost smiled. Then where is it now? He asked. Mark looked down at his notes, then back up. The cart goes to the service elevator, he said. We're tracking it. Andre exhaled slowly. Not relief, not yet. Just confirmation. It never left the room on its own, Andre said. Mark nodded. No. For the first time since Andre had walked back into his room, someone said the truth out loud, and it had taken a camera to do it. Andre followed Mark down the hallway, the carpet muffling their steps as if the hotel itself preferred discretion. Guests passed them, some in robes, some in business attire, none of them aware that a quiet crisis was unfolding behind the polished walls. They reached a small security office near the service elevators. It wasn't luxurious like the lobby, no marble, no art, just screens, chairs, and a desk worn smooth by routine. Mark gestured for Andre to sit. We're locating the cart now. Andre stayed standing. I'd rather watch. Mark didn't argue. On the wall, multiple camera feeds flickered. Elevators, hallways, service corridors guests never saw. Mark leaned forward and rewound one of the feeds, slowing it down. There, he said. Andre leaned in. The image was grainy but clear enough. The housekeeping cart stopped outside room 1412. The door opened. A woman in a housekeeping uniform stepped out, pushing the cart closer to the door. A few seconds passed. Then she reappeared, this time holding Andre's bag. Andre's jaw tightened. The attendant paused, looked down the hallway, then placed the bag on the lower shelf of the cart. She didn't examine it, didn't open it, but she didn't leave it behind either. The cart rolled away. Andre straightened. That's it. That's my bag. Mark nodded. I see it. They watched as the footage continued. The cart entered the service elevator. The doors closed. Can you track which floor it went to? Andre asked. Mark clicked through logs. Yes. Basement level. Housekeeping storage. Andre folded his arms. So it's downstairs. It should be, Mark said carefully. Should be. They took the elevator down in silence. Andre noticed how Mark no longer filled the space with procedural explanations. The certainty he'd arrived with had thinned. In the basement, the air smelled like detergent and hot metal. Laundry machines rumbled behind closed doors. Carts lined the walls, some full, some empty. A white woman in her 50s stood near a counter sorting towels. She looked up when they approached, her expression guarded. Linda, Mark said, We need to check your cart from this morning. Linda frowned. Why? A guest is missing an item, Mark replied. Linda crossed her arms. We don't take guest things. Andre stepped forward. You didn't take it, he said calmly. You moved it. Linda looked at him sharply. Excuse me? The camera shows you placed my bag on your cart, Andre said. From room 1412. Linda's face flushed. I thought it was trash, she snapped. Andre held her gaze. A leather bag with handles? Linda hesitated. Mark cleared his throat. Linda, where's the bag? She looked away, then pointed toward a row of carts near the far wall. Probably in Lost and Found. Andre and Mark walked over. Mark lifted the lid of a large plastic bin. Andre's bag was there, right on top. Andre let out a slow breath he hadn't realized he was holding. He picked it up immediately, checking the zipper, the weight. Everything was intact. He looked back at Linda. You didn't ask, you didn't check, you just decided. Linda bristled. We're told to remove unattended items. Andre's voice stayed level. From checked-in rooms. Linda didn't answer. Mark spoke carefully. That's not protocol. Linda's jaw set. I've worked here 15 years. Andre nodded. Then you should know better. The words landed harder than yelling ever could. Mark turned to Andre. I apologize, Mr. Lewis. This shouldn't have happened. Andre met his eyes. It happened because no one questioned it until there was proof. Mark didn't disagree. As they headed back toward the elevator, Andre felt the tension in his chest finally loosen, but it didn't disappear. Relief didn't erase what had already been revealed. The bag hadn't been lost, it hadn't been stolen by a stranger. It had been taken out of his room because someone made a decision without asking, and everyone else had trusted that decision until a camera forced them not to. Andre stepped into the elevator, bag firmly in hand. He knew this part of the story would be called a misunderstanding, but he also knew the truth. If there had been no camera, the bag would still be missing. Andre didn't unpack the bag right away. Back in room 1412, he set it on the desk exactly where it had been before. Same chair, same angle, same deliberate placement. The room looked unchanged, as if nothing had happened. Fresh sheets still tight, towels still folded. The faint citrus smell of cleaner still hung in the air. But Andre felt different standing in it now. He opened the bag slowly, checking each item not because he expected something to be missing, but because he needed to confirm reality on his own terms. Passport, badge, flash drive, medication, everything accounted for. He closed the zipper and sat down. The adrenaline faded, leaving behind a quieter, heavier awareness. This hadn't been chaos. It had been smooth, efficient, almost polite. A system doing what it did best, moving forward on an assumption and waiting for proof only when someone refused to accept the outcome. His phone buzzed. A message from the front desk. Front desk. Mr. Lewis, we're relieved the item has been located. Please accept our apologies for the inconvenience. Inconvenience. Andre stared at the word until it lost shape. He typed back slowly. The bag was removed from my room during my stay and returned only after camera review. Please confirm this has been documented. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Reappeared. Front desk. Yes, security has logged the incident. Andre saved the conversation. Later that evening, Mark knocked again. Andre opened the door to find him standing straighter than before, clipboard in hand. Mr. Lewis, Mark said. I wanted to follow up personally. Andre nodded. Go ahead. We reviewed the footage again and clarified procedure with housekeeping, Mark said. Items are not to be removed from occupied rooms without supervisor approval. Andre held his gaze. And before today? Mark hesitated. It seems discretion was loosely applied. Andre almost smiled. Almost. What happens now? Andre asked. The attendant has been retrained, Mark replied quickly, and we've issued a reminder. Andre nodded. That's for you, he said calmly. What about for me? Mark blinked. I'm sorry. Andre gestured lightly toward the desk. For the fact that I was told nothing was missing, that security implied error on my part, that the truth only appeared when a camera spoke. Mark swallowed. I apologize for that. Andre studied his face, not looking for guilt, just accuracy. Thank you, Andre said. That's all I needed. After Mark left, Andre stood by the window and looked out at the city. Lights blinked on floor by floor. People moved in patterns they trusted. Hotels kept their promises until they didn't. The next morning, as Andre checked out, the front desk attendant smiled too brightly. Everything okay with your stay? She asked. Andre met her eyes. It ended honestly. She hesitated, then nodded. Outside, the city felt louder than the room had. Real, unfiltered. Andre adjusted the strap of his bag on his shoulder, feeling its familiar weight. He knew how this would be told internally. A misunderstanding, a training issue, resolved. But he also knew something else. The hallway camera hadn't just found a bag, it had rewritten the story. And without it, the version that mattered most, the one where nothing was taken, would have been the only one left standing. Andre walked away knowing one thing for certain. In places built on discretion, truth didn't surface on its own. Someone had to insist on seeing it.